Hi and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Stine. I am a 31-year-old knitter and I live in Oslo in Norway, where it's currently a blizzard outside. It's so much snow, I can't bring the baby outside because it's too cold, so we're stuck inside this week. In this video, I want to share with you my knitting intentions for the upcoming year. I like to do these for myself in the beginning of the year in order to give myself some direction in my knitting. Well, journey is kind of a lame word, but I guess journey. First of all, I need to show you the new mug I got for Christmas. I always enjoy showing my mugs because I love my mugs. This is the longest reigning monarch mug from the royal collection that I got for Christmas. It's filled with gold and today I'm having green tea and mint from it. I actually got two of these for Christmas. Both my sisters-in-law had ordered me one and I'm not mad about it. That just means I get to bring one back to work. I am currently on maternity leave with my first child, a daughter that I gave birth to this summer. So I'm going back to work in February, which is approaching quite quickly. It's weird, but I think it will be okay as well to get back to work, get back into the world. I feel like I'm kind of on the outside of the world right now, and it's weird, outside of society, I guess you say. Also, I'm sorry if my wording isn't perfect. English isn't my first language, but I wanted to do this one in English today because I recently met a lot of people on Venetia's Discord. Her channel is The Woolly Worker. And some of you are Swedish and Danish and in theory you would be able to understand Norwegian, but I speak a particular way of Norwegian that may not be the easiest to understand. So I just wanted to be inclusive, and also maybe English will give me the opportunity to reach more people. I know that these one-off videos often get more views than regular podcast episodes, so maybe I will have the joy of meeting some new people. And I would love for you to say hello in the comments and tell me what your intentions are for the knitting year 2024, and if you have any particular projects you are looking forward to getting your hands on this year. I will start sharing some general intentions, and then I have some projects that I've broken down into categories, and I have some examples for each category. This is probably not everything I will knit for 2024. Maybe I won't even get to all of these projects and do completely other ones instead, but it's kind of a rough sketch of how I would like my year to look like. If I have the time, I will put in chapters so you can skip ahead if there are some topics you're not interested in. But as I've said, I do have a baby, I do have limited amount of time, which means I don't have like lots of time to make really detailed descriptions and do these chapters and stuff for my videos. My priority is getting the videos done. So I'm really sorry about that, but if there are parts where you feel like I'm just mumbling and rambling, feel free to just skip a few minutes ahead and see if that part is more suited for you. So let's get into these intentions. My first one and most important one is to make better decisions. I want to be more thorough this year because I am so tired of knitting and spending loads of money and time on pieces that doesn't turn out the way I want them to turn out. My last example of this is this grey Marseille sweater, and it's nothing wrong about it per se, but it ended up much bigger than I wanted it to be. My intention for this was to have a basic staple sweater that I could tuck into jeans and just wear to the office and wear with a shirt and stuff like that, but after wash it just turned out so big. It grew both in width and in height. It's supposed to be 21 stitches for 10 centimeters, but it's 18. I haven't measured the height, but I know it turned out big. I knew it when I took it out of the washing machine that it had grown. And I still wear it. I've worn it in this entire Christmas holiday, and I wear it at home, and it's soft. It's made from Knitting for Olive merino and soft silk mohair, and I love it. I love the color, but it's just not how I wanted it to be, and it didn't fill that gap in my wardrobe that I wanted it to fill. So that is my first intentions for this year, to do gauge swatches, to try yarns, to be better at choosing the right materials for the right project, and hopefully not be as disappointed as I have ended up being for the last 6 months with some of my pieces. I think one of the reasons is that I changed my needles this summer. I had, for a long period of time, my hands had started to hurt while knitting. I used to have, or I still have it, but I used to use a interchangeable set from Knit Pro, and they're not metal needles, but they are like kind of heavy wooden needles with metal tips, so they are heavy, and I think I was holding them kind of tightly, which gave me a nice gauge, I guess. Like, I never had gauge issues really with petite knit patterns or anything like that, but this summer I swapped them for interchangeable bamboo needles from Tulip, which are extremely lightweight, which is much better on my hands, but I think I hold them much more loosely. I relax my hands more when I knit, which makes my gauge looser. And I hadn't really accounted for that, or I didn't even think about it. Like, I had just given birth. I couldn't think about anything. So it was just a week ago maybe I realized that probably is the reason. So now I have to be more diligent about doing gauge swatches and testing different yarns and changing needle sizes, or even knitting with a smaller needle when I'm doing purl rows. Like here where I was purling when I knit in a flat, it rode out quite a bit in here and there. So yeah, I just have to make those adjustments and be more thorough. The second kind of big one is that I really want to find my colors this year. I've had a tendency of choosing black, white, earthy tones and navy. And you know, these earthy browns and beiges have had a chokehold on knitting Instagram for years now, and I just got on the bandwagon. I love the colors, I think they were pretty, I chose them, knit with them, but there is always something off with the colors. And recently, I guess I'm not the only one who has been watching a lot of color analysis content on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. Amy from Knits is really good at using her color season when choosing colors for her projects. Florence Miller from Handmade by Florence has an amazing color palette on her knits, and I really want to have a broader selection of colors to choose from. So I started Googling around to see if there were anyone in the immediate Oslo area who did in-person color analysis. And there are a few, but I couldn't really find like a big social media presence for them. So I didn't know how the method worked. I didn't know if I would be happy with the result. So I actually ended up ordering a digital color analysis from Color Analysis Studio in Melbourne. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to do an in-person session with them because they are based in Melbourne, and I figured the in-person digital version would also be kind of tricky because they are 10 hours ahead. If they were like 12 hours ahead, I think it would be easier, but 10 hours is kind of a wonky time difference. Also, that session was kind of more expensive. The basic digital color analysis session cost about the same as a sweater quantity of really nice yarn. So I figured it would be a great investment, and I really want to see what colors would suit me the best. I am ready to change things up, which is why I chose this gray, which is a really exciting color choice for me. I've never knit a piece for myself in gray before, so that was a first. But yeah, I'm hoping it will be a good tool when choosing yarn in this upcoming year. Like, there are so many beautiful colors out there, and I think I just need to throw myself in it and do some more experimenting. I think it will be great having a bunch of swatches with me when I go choose yarn, so I know I choose the right colors, but also that I choose the right shades that will suit me the best. Also, there are no rules. Like, if you want to knit in black, grey, navy, beige, whatever, do what you want. But I want to try this approach this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing my result. I will share it with you when I get it. They have an extended holiday break, so they are still away from office this week. So I'm guessing I will hear from them the earliest next week, like after the 8th of January. This year, I also don't want to be afraid of choosing time-consuming projects. Like, I guess most of us really enjoy having some mindless stockinette projects on the needles for those evenings in the couch, watching television, whatever. But I also want to do some larger stuff and just not be afraid of it. And I really got to try myself on a big project in 23 when I did my husband's Moby sweater. That was a huge project, but I did get through it in not too much of time. I didn't spend too much time on it, and I was really happy with the result, although it is a bit long. I did gauge swatch that one actually, but yeah, anyways, I got blocking mats for Christmas, so I will try blocking it again. But I don't want to be afraid of that. I don't want to be afraid of doing something on 3mm needles. I don't want to be afraid of cables or Colourwork or stuff like that. But I still don't think I'm ready for like brioche because I've had some bad experiences with it. But other than that, I'm ready for some more intricate projects. I also have like some smaller intentions, like I want to actually learn duplicate stitch because I would love to make Weasley sweaters for my family. I want to contribute to the Amanda project, who knits hats, socks, and I think blankets for newborns in hospitals and preemies. That sounds like a really nice thing to contribute to. You have to do it in specific kinds of yarn, like superwash merinos that don't pill and don't leave fluff everywhere because they're really little babies. But they need hats. It's cold out here in the world, so that would be really nice to do. I really want to try more sock yarns this year and find the sock yarns I enjoy the most, because I don't want to buy enormous quantities of sock yarn just to realize they pill or fluff or stuff like that. So I need to try some different kinds, buy small quantities and make like a pair in each and see which ones I like the most. And I really want to keep curating my yarn stash in a good way. I got rid of a lot of scrap yarn during the fall. I think I gave away a lot to my Instagram followers actually, who wanted it. It was lots of beautiful yarn. It just had been sitting in my shelf for so long that I didn't feel inspired by it anymore. So this year I'm not afraid of accumulating yarn. I've recently done a roundup of all my yarn, and I don't have more than like 4.5 kilos. I don't have like any sweater quantities lying around because I never buy yarn without a plan. But the downside of buying yarn for a project when you are doing the project is that you may miss out on some beautiful yarns that may be limited edition, that may be hand dyed, that may be pre-order, stuff like that. And now I'm trying to make a like an Excel table almost, with how many meters I would need in different weights. So it's easy for me if I find yarn to know, oh, I need 1500 meters of this in order to make a sweater. And that way, if I go to like a yarn festival, which I really want to do this year, or I'm out traveling or anything, it's easy for me to pick up yarn. Also, in Norway, you don't really find yarn at discounted prices, at least not big producers like Sandnes, Rauma, Hillesvåg. You won't find them on sale, except from when they are discontinuing colors a few times a year. Then you will see like bigger quantities go on sale. And it would be really nice to actually know how many skeins I would need to make a sweater, because often there are beautiful colors that go out and I would like to, well, hoard some of them, but I never know how much I should buy. So sometimes I've like bought 3 balls of yarn in order to make something for my girl, and then I realize, oh, I would love to have something for myself as well. Another important one is that I truly want to learn more about yarn this year and different kind of sheep and breeds and the different abilities. Do you call it abilities? Properties. Properties is the right word. The different properties of different kinds of yarn. I want to learn more, so I will make better decisions regarding to what yarn I choose for what projects. Also, I have a few UFOs that I need to make some decisions about. Not too many, because I'm not too bad at like starting projects without finishing them. I don't like seeing my money going to waste like that. So I have a few that I need to finish, give away, frog, stuff like that. This year I would also like to participate in some knit-alongs. I recently joined Venezia, the Woolly Workers Discord. Did I just say that? I think I just said that. Anyways, I joined her Discord and there are so many lovely people, and we started talking about doing a mitten knit-along. So I'm going to pick up some needles for that. I need a 3mm needle for my Selby mittens that I want to get started on after I finish some socks. And also, lastly, I want to be better at filling gaps in my wardrobe. I need some cardigans. I don't have a lot of cardigans, but I feel like I need some. And more functional pieces like hats, mittens, socks. I want to do a neck warmer for myself. My daughter is growing up so fast, and during Christmas we have been outside playing in the snow with her for the first time, and I just realized that I needed some more, maybe like a balaclava, stuff that will keep me warm without sliding down in my eyes, without scarves getting loose. My husband got me a snowsuit for Christmas and I love it, and now I really enjoy being outside playing in the snow. And if you know me, I'm not like a huge outdoorsy person, but I've found out that if I'm warm, if I'm dry, and I can move around freely like a child, I will enjoy playing outside. So I need to fill those gaps as well. Now, to get into the projects, I will start with Colourwork projects. The first one is a sweater I fell absolutely in love with when it came up on my explore page on Instagram, and it is the Greirup Chunky by Camilla Wad. I just love the pattern and I love the colors used in her sample. The only problem is that I think the yarn is discontinued, so I will have to look into if like Hillesvåg or anyone like that has similar colors, because I want to do the exact color scheme from the sample pictures, because I just think it's beautiful. The next is that I would love to try a Fair Isle project. I might do like a cowl or a vest or something that isn't too big, because it's all over Colourwork on fairly small needles. But I think it would be really interesting to try it and learn more about Fair Isle. And could someone, if you know, is Fair Isle Colourwork, but Colourwork isn't always Fair Isle? Is that correct? Because I find Fair Isle looks like it's so interesting and it looks like a category of its own. But yeah, I don't know. Please tell me if you know more about the history of Fair Isle. I will have to find a documentary or something, because it's so beautiful, and I've gotten more and more into like traditional patterns, Norwegian traditional patterns, and I would love to see more from like the Shetland Islands and Britain and yeah, other woolly kind of countries. Next on my list, it says something from Linka Neumann. Little bit of disclaimer here because I work in publishing and we publish her books, but she makes books with beautiful, beautiful patterns, and I have made quite a few, and I've even made a few for myself, but I've had such bad luck when I've knitted these for myself. When I knit it for others, they always turn out really nice, but there seems to be like some kind of sweater curse for me when I do these. They turn out too big, too small, I choose the wrong colors, everything like I talked about in the beginning of the video. But this year I really want to do one. Maybe the Matuaka, which I've been eyeing for quite a while, or the Alasuk. And now she has some that you do in the round, some with raglan, some with where you steek and sew in the arms, and I just have to decide on what construction I want to do. Next is the Spot Sweater by Anne Wenzel. She has some beautiful designs and I think they are great substitutes for doing stripes. I did a lot of stripes this year actually because I realized I didn't have a lot of stripes. Now I do, so I want to do some other kind of color work, and I think she has some great options. And the last on my Colourwork section is a Christmas sweater. I always try to get my gift knits done by the 1st of December. That way I have all of December and the Advent to knit something for myself. And I want my Advent project this year to be a Christmas sweater for myself. I don't like the store-bought ones with like acrylic and stuff. They just itch my brain. So I need to find a pattern I want. I don't know if I want like a traditional one with snowflakes and Christmas trees and reindeer, or if I just want a sweater that has some kind of Christmas colors. We'll see. I have a lot of time to decide on that one. This next section is about solid color patterns and textured ones. I thought those are kind of overlapping, so I'll do them in the same. And the first one is the Oxford Cardigan by Sanges Garn. I believe this will be my next cast on actually, when I bind off some of the projects I've got going now. I did the Eva cardigan when it came out, the Eva cardigan by Petite Knit, but I was not satisfied with it, so I left it at the cabin actually during Christmas. It turned out too big. I chose the wrong size. It's too big. It's not long enough. It didn't turn out the way I want, which is my slogan for the last few months. But I figured that the Oxford cardigan may have the properties I wanted to and the details I really want. And I already own the pattern because I have the booklet. I had kind of forgotten it, but I was flipping through it and realized it's a beautiful cardigan, beautiful pattern. So I will be doing that. I just have to decide if I should do it in like a solid grey or a tweedy grey. So that's to be decided. Next is the Bonnie Sweater by Sanges Garn, which is a all-over textured cabled knit. It's really pretty, but I also realized that in the same booklet that the Oxford cardigan came in, there is a cabled sweater with a raglan. So I have to decide what kind of construction I want. I really like the raglan one as well. It's more kind of like preppy or academic, I guess. So it just depends on the vibe I want from the piece. I have to do some thinking, maybe scroll a bit on Pinterest to see what kind of styling I would want with the sweater. Then there is the Moby sweater. I did the Moby sweater man this year and I kind of fell in love with the pattern. I did the baby size Moby sweater when that pattern first came out and I struggled so much, but doing the men's version I didn't struggle as much, so now I kind of want to do one for myself. And while we're on the subject of all over textured patterns from Petite Knit, I have to mention the Storm sweater. I wasn't going to do it, I was kind of on the fence about it, but then I thought, how about doing it in like some kind of purple, some kind of grayish purple? And when I get this color analysis back, I will see if there are any suggestions for good purples. And if I can find the color I want. I think I want to do the storm sweater in purple. I think that would be really cool. The only thing that I'm not that stoked about with this storm sweater is the pearl stitches beneath the neckline. So I might end up picking up for the neck so it won't have those pearls right at the neckline. I think there is a pearl row across the chest, and I think the way the neckline is picked up, it just makes the pearl rows really tug upwards, and I'm not sure I like that, so I'll have to give it some thinking to see if I will do some changes to the neckline in order to be happy about it. Next up on my list are some more summer tops. I don't really have a lot of like camisoles and summer knits. I have the Anchor tee or blouse. I'm not sure the DK weight version. And I do get a lot of use out of that. I even made a new one this summer because my first one was just so worn out. I felt I needed a new one. And I did the poppy tee also this summer, but I was quite heavily pregnant and haven't been able to wear that a lot, so I hope I get some more use out of it this next summer. But this year I want to do more of like lightweight summer tops, and on my list are the square neck camisole, which I think looks like a really versatile piece. I would love to do the twist loop top. It looks both like something I could get a lot of wear out of, but also it looks fun to knit, and it looks like it's a bit more dressed up kind of, so I could wear it to like summer parties and stuff. And I would also like to do the cumulus tee, which I actually have yarn for, so now I have to do it, although I'm not looking forward to knitting with knitting for olive silk yarn. I've heard a lot about it, so that will be, I think, a project knit and not a process knit. So the next category is small projects, and as before mentioned, I would love to do more socks. I just started knitting socks and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's the perfect stockinette, semi-mindless knit on small needles that I can have, that's easy to transport and easy to work on. And since I want to try more sock yarns, I need to knit more socks. Also, I would love to do more mittens. I recently bought a booklet with Selby mitten patterns from Rauma Garn, and they are just so gorgeous, so I can't wait to cast those on. And also I want to experiment more with hand-dyed yarn as contrast colors, and those small projects are perfect for that, I think, because you can use small quantities to just get more experience of how the yarn works up without having to buy huge quantities for sweaters in order to see how it works. I need to see if I like it, how different kinds of hand-dyed work in different kinds of patterns, and I think that will be a fun learning experience this year. For gifts this year, I think I will be doing more socks. I mentioned that I wanted to try more sock yarns, and what better way to get to use those sock yarns than to knit gifts. I tend to spread my gift knits out throughout the year, so it won't be so stressful, and that I can have small projects on the needles on the go and just get them done. And if I enjoy the process of knitting Selby mittens, I think I will be gifting some of those this Christmas. And also I have this dream of knitting a huge December bow for myself to hang on the front door this next Christmas. And if I enjoy making them, perhaps I will make some for gifts for others, or else I might do smaller December bows. And also I recently saw Siri Nilsen Krøseri do little bows in reflective yarn, which I thought was just really interesting and perfect little gift knits for people They are just I-cord strings that you tie into a bow. And also I've been wanting to try and make hats for my nieces in reflective yarn. I figure it would be perfect when they're outside playing in the dark during winter, like when you're playing in the snow next to a road or anything, and you have this extra reflective hat. So when their head pops up of like a snow cave or anything they've built, they have some protection so the cars can see that they're there. This last section will be about children's knits. I know that everyone isn't that interested in it, or it isn't that relevant for you. If you feel like that, you are welcome to skip or to just leave now if you want to. I want to say thank you for watching, and to the others, let's get into children's knits. For kindergarten, I believe my girl, will need a few new pants. She does have a lot of knits, and I think some of them will fit as she starts kindergarten, but I figured having 1 or 2 more pants ready to go would be nice. So I think I would be doing either like 2 of the enkel barnehagebukse, which is a pattern and a knit I really enjoy. I have been using it a lot for her. But also the busty sælebukse is really nice. But I might do the enkel barnehagebukse pattern, which I know I love, and modify it to use the straps from like the busty sælebukse, where you pick up in the middle and you have the 2 straps that go over the shoulders like that. And the reason for that is that I'm really stressed out about the buttons. For like, one thing is the practicality of it. You don't want to lose buttons and having to sew them back on. But the other thing is like kids eating buttons. It really stresses me out. So doing more pants without buttons, I think, would just give me some peace of mind. The next on this list is the UNICEF sweater, and I'm considering doing it in some of the hand-dyed sock yarn I have got recently. I may not need like that much, so I could probably knit from like 100-gram skein, probably knit a pair of socks, at least if I use contrast like heel, toe and cuff. I could use the scraps or like the second half of the skein as the contrasting color in a UNICEF sweater. I probably should do it in a similar yarn, like another sock yarn for the rest of the sweater. But I think a sock yarn for a kid is kind of versatile because it won't be like a heavy duty winter piece, but for spring and fall and even like some of the colder summer days, I think it would be perfect inside of like rain pants. Is that what you call it? Outdoor pants. And I have this vision of my girl waddling around in those outdoor pants and a knitted sweater, and I just think the UNICEF sweater would look really good. So I have to decide on colors and stuff. Also, I want to make her a hipster hat by Petite Knit. I just think they are so cute on kids, and also I could knit it quite long, and then I could just make more folds in the brim, and then I wouldn't have to keep making her new hats all the time. And lastly, she will probably need a few more balaclavas and some neck warmers to use by themselves or together for layering. I don't think you're supposed to use scarves in kindergarten because they might get stuck on branches and stuff when they're out walking. So it's just kind of a choking hazard. So balaclavas, neck warmers, I think those will be great to have. And also, I think that's the kind of stuff that just keeps going missing all the time. So I probably should just knit 3 or 4 and keep them in a drawer at home. And if she loses one, it's not the end of the world. I have some new ones. And also, if I knit ribbed ones, she can use them from like 1 and probably until she's like 3 or 4. What I've learned about baby knits after having a child myself is to choose patterns that are really stretchy, that can be rolled up and just being used for a longer period of time, because it's just sad that you spend so much time and you buy relatively expensive materials to knit a piece that won't be used for that long. For kindergarten, I would love to choose patterns that will last, but you also can't knit them like so big that they will slide off and be impractical. She's already really mobile, so I tend to choose clothing that fits kind of snugly, so it's easy for her to move around and she doesn't like swim in her clothes. Now that was my list for 2024. I'm really looking forward to this knitting year, and although I'm going back to work and it will probably be hectic, and when autumn comes around we will have to juggle like kindergarten and pickups and dinner time and bedtime, and we will be in that jam, but I am so grateful for knitting because when you have a baby you are stuck at home a lot. It's just the easiest way. Especially when you are on maternity leave and you have that period when they are really little and they sleep a lot and they're cranky and there's a lot going on. And I'm so happy that when she naps, I have my knitting, I can sit down with a cup of coffee and do my own thing and have my own projects. And I'm also really grateful for the community here on YouTube. I'm so grateful for every comment, everyone who's been subscribing and supporting my little podcast, and everyone who's so patient with me when I juggle between Norwegian and English and just want to do everything and really want to get to know everyone and just include everyone. And although English is more complicated for me, it's so nice if there are like, even if there's just 3 or 4 people who really need me to speak English, I'm kind of prone to do it because I really want you to be here. I hope everyone has a peaceful, nice January, that we don't snow in, hopefully. And please let me know what you're knitting on. Please let me know if there are any big projects you are looking forward to getting to this year, and I will see you soon. Bye!